Okay, so we have started to record the video. Let's start. We will not wait anymore as the members who has already joined will be the waste of time for them. Okay, Ria, I think we should start. Good to go.
Good evening, everyone. I, Riya Tohandar, student member of IEEE JSS ATE Noida, student branch under EE Department, welcome you all in the Python webinar organized on the occasion of IEEE Day 2020. Before starting the webinar, I would like to thank JSS ATN management, including our principal, Dr. GM Patil sir, and IEEE coordinator, Dr. Sanjeeva Bishnoi sir. Also, our HOD EE for Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Sharma for their constant support. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude towards our branch counselor, Mrs. Gunjan Varshne ma'am, for persistently aiding us in our event. Moving forward, now I would call today's speaker, Mr. Syed Hassan Askari Rizvi, who is a third year student of Electronics and Communication Engineering in JSS ATAN and the chairperson of IEEE JSS ATE Noida, to continue with the program. Let's hear from him. Over to you, Syed.
Okay, thank you very much. That was indeed a warm welcome. Okay, so as mentioned, I am Syed Hassan Askari Rizvi, a third year student of Electronics and Communication Engineering at JSS Noida. So to confirm the webinar, is my screen visible? I'm changing the slide. Please, anyone confirm? Has the screen, has the slide been
Yes,
changed?
sir, it's visible.
Okay, great. So we are starting with the webinar. Uh, this is the short bio. As the trend goes, let me introduce myself. I am currently the chairperson of IEEE GSSAT Noida. I was elected as the head boy and the vice head boy in City Montessori School. I think many of you might have heard it's a Guinness World Record holder school in Lucknow. I've also been to NASA, Florida, US for the full-time astronaut training and have been certified by the Wilson Scott Sir, an astronaut who have been to space 12 times. Okay, I've also attended the fourth International Yoga Day at United Nations headquarters in New York. Recently, my project on COVID-19 was selected for funding in whole of the Asia. Okay, to make the webinar more interesting and I will be doing one project on Python related to COVID-19 at the end of the webinar if we have the time constraint. So it is better to be stick with the webinar. Okay. Uh, the another thing that I want to say is that this is my first webinar being addressed, and you are the first participant. So if there are some mistakes and if there are some glitches, please forgive me for that, as it is the first webinar. I might be sounding some nervous also. I might be sounding a little nervous as well, as it is the first webinar. So, having said that, let's move with the webinar. Okay. So the topic is Python webinar. What is Python? Okay. We are not going to talk about this Python because we are not going to involve in the bio. We are not going to talk about this Python even. It is the movie. But in fact, we are going to talk about this Python. This is the Python interpreted language, Python programming language. It was introduced by Guido van Rossum in the early of 1991. It is the high-level general-purpose programming languages, and you will see that it has a rich and uh, vast library support, which makes it the best programming language. It has also been selected as the best programming language in 2019 and 2020, I guess. So it is very good. It is vastly used in data analysis, data science. In fact, web development, you can use its library, Django. You can also go with using OpenCV. You can go with image processing, and there are many projects. Okay, we'll be talking that also in the end. Okay, let's move further. Okay, let me confirm. Is my screen still visible? Ria
Yes,
is confirmed.
sir.
Okay, okay. I'll take this as yes. Okay, why to choose and not to choose Python over languages? Okay, before it is advised to all the participants who have been joining from second year and before second year or who are just entering the college. It is for you. Before joining, before taking up any programming language, you must know whether you should do it or not. Okay, you should learn any programming language with an aim. Okay, so here are the reasons why to. So let us be very clear and very crisp and clear. Let's see why to choose Python. Okay, Python is very easy and interesting language, and it is very good for the starters to begin. Okay, for the beginners, it is a debatable statement that it is good to start. I'll talk about it in a while. Okay, so let's see the second reason to choose the Python. Python is an interpreted language. Okay, and why is that a reason to choose this programming language? There is a reason because being a compiler-based language, whole the code you write, whole code will go into the compilation, and whole code will be tested for the any error. Okay, in the interpreted language, it is not the case. Each line is being when you write the program, each line is being uh, interpreted, and then the result of that line is printed and displayed, and then it goes to the next line. Okay, so if there is any error, say in line number 146, all the lines before 146 like till 145 will be run without any fail, given that there are no any other issue and runtime errors. And so it will show you that at the line number this there is an error. Okay, so this is the interpreted language. So there are some it will not show you exactly that your code is not working. Okay, you have done it all wrong. So it encourages the programmers. It has vast library support, as I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar, that it has the vast library supports like NumPy and Matplotlib and OpenCV, Django, and all. So this helps you build the projects. Okay. Okay. Let me also introduce you like this. Being a programmer, you may go for development such as the library development, which is also the operating system developing and library development. You can also go with the product development. Okay. Product development, and there are some developers who are middleware developers. That is a embedded level language, embedded level developers. So talking about the developers of the operating system uh, and the library, so they design the libraries for the developers of the project. Okay, uh, to be used. The product developer will never be going to write his own programming library. Okay, that he will be using. He will be using the available library, and using that he will be designing a product. Say you are the image processing developer. You are going to use the OpenCV library and its functions, and according to the need, you will be using in the intended library functions. So, having said that, it has the vast library support, which make it very easy for even the career perspective. It is free and open source. Free, by free it means it's free, and by open source, or for those who don't know what is open source is basically it is open for everyone, as the name is open, and you have to contribute to that open source thing. Like for Python, you can go for the library development also. There are even programs and many events where you have to design a library support for the let me see if someone has joined. Okay, yes. So there are open source contributions being done in a great way. So these are the reasons why you should choose Python over other languages. But let's see the other side of the coin. Okay, the other face of the coin, which says why you should not use the Python, is because first of all it is a slow language. Okay, why it is slow language? Slow because Python has to do other processes before interpreting your code. Okay, it is slow as compared to the programming languages such as C, C++, and Java. But for your perspective, if you are doing some basic programming, then you should not to worry. Okay, so the time constraint of the slow language is not so much worry for your projects which don't have such time constraint. But yes, if you are going for serious projects such as image processing in the real time, where you have to process around 60, you have to process a video of 60 FPS. So there might be some problems because Python is a slow language. Okay, Python lacks memory management and hence it is memory inefficient. Okay, uh, first of all, Python gives you whole of the memory. Okay, you can even use the whole memory of your computer to in a program. Okay, so there is nothing like giving you a specific program like in other programming languages. So and there are other mismanagements of the memory in Python, which makes it memory inefficient. Okay, so you might be in a problem where memory is uh, memory is a factor. Okay, so these are the reasons why you should not choose Python. You should not choose Python. Okay, well, these reasons why you should not choose Python is for the serious developers. Okay, they might not use Python for their projects, but for the beginners, I can say that yes, Python is for them. Okay, Python is the language for you. Okay. As mentioned earlier, the first statement says Python is very easy, which is for sure the easiest language, but it is good to start with the beginner. As I said, that it is a debatable line. Debatable line is because Python has such an easy layout and such an easy syntax that it somewhat spoils you. Spoils you being a programmer, because when you are introduced to other programming languages such as C and Java, you might feel difficulty to cope up with that. Okay, but if you are starting the Python after learning the Java or the C, then you will be finding it much more easier. Okay, so that was the debatable line, and I have explained, I think, why it is debatable. Okay, so that was about Python. Okay, now let's get into real simulations and all. Okay, now this will be the interactive session. Interactive session in the sense there, yes, your questions will be addressed at the end of the workshop. Right, it is will be practical in the sense uh, we'll be showing you everything, what how it is being done and all. Okay, so now I will be introducing with the Python shell. i'll I'll also give you brief introduction about all the editors, Python editors and environment available. So I'll stop the screen sharing, and I'll share my whole desktop, and then I'll be showing you everything. So there will be a pause of, I think, half a minute. So please. Hmm. Is my screen visible? Can you anyone please confirm that?
Yes, Hassan.
Okay, okay, thank you. Andrea, I'll be prompting in between. Okay, I'll be confirming. So please be aware to.
Sure, sure.
Hmm. Okay, so let me introduce you. When you will be installing the Python. Okay, as you can see, I have installed Python 3.7.4. Okay, so when you will be installing the Python, the Python shell will be pre-installed already after being installed successfully. So you can use the Python shell and its editor for your programming projects and all. But there are other editors such as Atom, Visual Studio, uh, Jupyter Notebook, okay, which will enhance you for your project specific. These are project specific editors, okay. The developers of such as ML and all loves to code in Jupyter Notebook, you know, and and in fact Jupyter Notebook. Along with that, there is Anaconda and all. Also, developers choose Atom editors over other editors because of the inbuilt services. Okay, so having said that, we'll be talking about the basic. Python shell, which everyone will be having if the Python is being installed. Okay. Another thing apart from that is you can use the command prompt. Okay, you can use the command prompt and you can use the Python. Okay, you can see if I write Python. Let me. If I write Python, the Python editor like Python shell will be open. Okay, here in this environment, I can write all the Python lines and it will be run line by line. Okay, but this is not the programming editor which we will be going to use because we'll be writing some serious lines, serious codes. Okay, so this will not serve the purpose. And likewise, this is also the Python shell as shown in that command prompt. If you would write the Python, I will be starting with the basics only. But if say you write a is equal to 5, okay. So Python it will be entered, okay. And now if I will print a, 5 will be printed, okay. As you can see, 5 will be printed. So it is just to use the you can use it in many ways. Like what I use is when I am going to do any project which is involving other modules, okay, libraries which will be including. So I see if there is some library function missing, if it will be having difficulty in the program. Let me add some. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so if I'm using say NumPy, okay, I'm using NumPy uh, as NP. If I'm using this library and if I want to see that if I will be using it into the program in our project and the library will be successfully imported or not, I'll use the command line and enter it. If there is no error, it will import. Okay, it will import and the lines will show up again. Okay, so this means the library is good to go and the importing function is also working. So I use this shell in this manner. You can also use it. The next thing is the Python editor. Okay, I just press the Control N. The Python editor, Python idle editor will open up. Here you can write your code in the multi-line. Okay, so we'll be writing a code. All the uh, I'll be showing you all the practicals here only. Okay, please confirm if the characters are visible because if the characters are not visible, it might be problem for you. I'll increase the font if the problem is there. Uh, is it readable? What I have written?
Yes, sir, it's readable.
Okay, okay. So I think that there is no need of increasing the font. Okay, okay. Let's get back to the yes. Variables. Okay, like every programming languages, Python also needs variable. Okay, there are some set of rules, set of things you need to understand before declaring a variable. Not declaring a variable, but naming a variable. Okay, there is no such thing like declaration of the variable. Like if any one of you have done any other languages such as C or Java or C++ in class 12th or in early stages of their academics before entering the engineering. So you might recall that before we initialize any variable, we need to declare it. We used to set the uh, type of the inputs, that type of the storage that the variable will be taking, like integer, float, double, long, short. No, not short. Okay, it was just a joke. There is no such variable short. Okay, double, long, even in fact, cat. Okay, and there is no such declaration in Python. So it is just a way like a is equal to 5. Likewise, I have written a is equal to 5. A will be stored in 5. Okay. Uh, I will be explaining something in the future as well. Let's start. Okay. There is no need of declaration of the variables. Okay. We just need to write the name of the variable and assign the value. Okay. But there is the assignment. We need to assign something. Okay. Which is also called initialization. Okay. Uh, these everything is a variable and variable is everything. Okay. Even functions. Uh, Acha, there is a difference between a variable and a keyword. Okay, keywords cannot be used as variable. Like there is a keyword list with L capital. It cannot be used as the name of the variable. So we must avoid the keywords. But there are naming. There are also naming rules. Okay, let's see the naming rules first. Okay, what are the variable nomenclature rules? Okay, the first rule is that the variable must start with a letter or the underscore. Okay, uh, the let you can start with your name, like my name is Hassan, so I can like start with Hassan with H capital or H small, nothing, not a problem. uh, the first character must be the letter. Okay, it can be like H1 H thing. Okay, so variable must start. Okay, and it can also start with underscore. Okay, you must avoid double underscore. You must avoid double underscore in the initialization of your variable, naming your variable, because when you are into serious programming, you will get to know that these are used for private use of the variables. Okay, the programmers use double underscore for the private uh, work. Okay, and there are also used for, like, you can see like in classes when you will be declaring, there is underscore underscore self underscore underscore. So it is other purpose. So it is advised that you don't use more than one underscore in the starting. You can use one underscore space any character. So that was the first rule. The second rule is a variable name cannot start with a number. There is nothing like 1a, 2a, 2 Hassan, one name. Okay, there can be n1 ame and there can be name one, but there is nothing like one name. Okay, if you want to let me add. Okay, there is no one. Hmm. There is you cannot start a variable with a number. Okay, I think I have made myself clear. The third is the variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters. Okay, there is nothing like name underscore, name hash, name star. Okay, star name is different thing. Okay, star name is different thing when it is used. I will be using that is called a pointer. I have given you the spoiler. So we'll be talking about this in function definition part. What is the pointer? So there can be star name, but it will not be the variable. Okay, that's the other thing. But apart from that, the variable can only contain the numeric and alphanumeric characters from A to Z, capital or small, and 0 to 9, and underscore anywhere in between, even in the starting. Okay, and the fourth and the last is the variable are case sensitive. Okay, if you are using a variable, say, okay, there is an example, age and age. Okay, uh, in the first, all are lowercase. In the second, it is a title case, which is the first letter is capital, and the third is uppercase. Okay, all three are different. Okay, there is nothing like all are same. Okay, in our language, age is the same language, but for the Python, it is different. Okay, age with all small is different. Age with a capital is different, and age with all uppercase is also different. Okay, so all that are different variables. Okay, that was about the variables and how we need to declare. Okay, inputs. Okay, uh, let me make myself one more thing clear, that for those who have already some experience with other programming languages, you should recall how the syntax and all was working in that, and how it is in Python. Okay, as you can see in C programming, you used to take input from scanf. Okay, and in C++ it is cin. Okay, so inputs are basically when you are starting, you are doing any project. Inputs are must. Okay, you have to interact with the outside world, or you have to interact with the user. So inputs are very useful. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ria, can you please confirm that my screen is visible?
Yes, the sunscreen is visible.
Oh, okay. Okay. So inputs are useful for the programmers to interact with the outside world of the user. How do we take inputs in Python? Okay, there is a simple function input. Okay, the syntax is we need to write input and prompt. Prompt is basically the message what we want to send to the user when he will be entering, to assist him what he should enter into the desired location. Okay, like we want his age, so we'll say please enter your age in numerics. Okay, in numerics, like if I'm 19 years old, I will write 19. If I'm 24, I'll write 24. So not TWENTY. Okay, so we can specify. So please use the numeric only. We don't need alphabetical representation of your age. So you can use the prompt for that message. Okay. Acha, if there is a function, there will be, excuse me. Okay. If there is a function, there will be the return. Okay. This input, when it will be run, it will take the input of the user, and it will have to store in something. So we need to declare a variable. Sorry, we need to initialize a variable in which the particular value will be stored. Okay. The second thing that must be noted here before I start with the next topic, which is string, like is that all the variables which are all the inputs which are taken by Python are by default in strings. Okay, if even if the user is inputting his age like 1919, that will be also stored as a string. Okay, so we need to typecast that thing into integers. Okay, so if you want to use that age for the numerical purpose, so you have to convert that from string to integer. Okay, and you must be confirmed that the variable which sorry the input that the user has given is strictly integer. Okay, if he has written NINTY90, so that will not be the case for the inputting it into the integer. Okay, the error will show up. Okay, having said that, we have got the input. Okay, and say we have stored it into X. I'll write my name Hassan. So what we are doing is basically string concatenation. Okay? Will be when the program will run, I I'll be prompted with a message. Enter your name. I will write Hassan. After that, uh, automatically, automatically, my name will be printed. Hello, Hassan. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do this. As I said, that it will be the practical session as well. Let's do this. Like what I'm storing it in X input. Okay, what will be coming in this? The message for the users. Okay, so the message is please. Someone is joining. Okay, please enter your name. Okay, and I'll do is print string concatenation. It is a string concatenation hello plus X. Okay, as simple as that. Let me first save it on a personal computer, because before you have to save your file before running it. Okay, it need to be on your physical computer. Uh, let's save it in COVID. Okay, sorry. About the name, let's say Python webinar. Okay, we are saving it as Python webinar. Okay, so the command to run the program is F5. I can use F5. The program will run. Okay, uh, Ria, can you please confirm that the screen is visible? Can anyone please confirm?
Yes, the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, okay. As you can see, I have been prompted with a message. Please enter your name. I will write Hassan. What should be the output? Hello, Hassan. So the input is here. Okay, as simple as that. Let's get back to the PPT. So this was the input. Strings. Okay, strings are the literals in Python which are surrounded by either single quotation marks or double quotes. Single quotes and double quotes. I know, hope you all understand what is it. Single quotes and double quotes. Okay. There is also a multi-line string in Python. Okay, you can use multi-line strings. Like if you want to say import a book. Okay, you say like you want to import a book from. Say you want to import a Harry Potter book. Okay, Harry Potter book will not contain any single character, not a single string. It will be the addition of the different paragraphs and different. Okay, so when you will be importing the book, you need to have something which may store the full paragraphs. Okay, you can use the multi-line string. How it is being initialized? You will be using three single or double quotes. Okay, you can use three single or double quotes to store that multi-line string. Okay, we will do it. We'll do this. Okay, we'll do this in a while. Okay, like many other programming languages, strings in Python are also arrays. Okay, what is string? String is an array. What? Okay, so string is an array of characters. Okay, string of characters, which includes characters from A to Z and 0 to 9. In fact, in Python there are some UTF. Okay, UTF-8 and UTF-16. Like there are symbols. Okay, before if I've said UTF, let me explain. Uh, the character to represent a character into the machine. Okay, machine doesn't know I am entering D or Y or 7 or anything. Okay, machine only works on zeros and ones. That will be clear. Okay, machine only works on zeros and ones. If we are writing program in any language, be it assembler or be it high level language, Python, which is a high level language, the code is converted at the end to the machine code, okay, which is zeros and ones. That will decide what the code is being written, because the machine, like my computer, or if you are using Raspberry Pi or anything in which the Python is being running, it will not understand the code. The thing that the processor will be understanding is zeros and ones. Okay, so ultimately your whole programmer your whole programming program is being converted into assembler and then into the machine level code. Okay, so if I'm writing A or a capital A or a small a, my computer is not going to understand any difference. Like if I've written A, it will be converted into some it will be converted into some machine code, which will be pointing that it is A. Okay, it will be saying that it is A. Okay, so the best chart which programmers in till class 12 have used is ASCII. Okay, ASCII American. So, okay, characters naming. ASCII, ASCII. Okay, so ASCII has it is a 8-bit, so it can use some 255 characters. So characters in the real world are more than 255. Okay, like Japanese characters, Chinese characters, even Hindi Devanagari. Okay, Devanagari characters. Okay, they are different. They are different, and there are tons and tons of characters which cannot be fitted into that ASCII chart. Okay, so someone came up with an idea of using another form of naming that. Excuse me. Oh, okay, sorry. Uh, okay, what I was saying. Okay, naming in another type of nomenclature. So UTF-8, UTF-16, and UTF-32 was introduced to store many characters which are available, like Japanese character or the Hindi characters. Python can store every character, even the Japanese character also, and Hindi character as well. Okay, so this was all about this whole explanation was for like Python is sorry, string is an array which includes all character, Unicode character. Okay. However, Python does not have any character data type. Okay, single character is simply a string with a length of one. Okay, it is a character. Okay, character like A, B, C. If we combine all the characters, it becomes a string. If we combine all the string, it becomes a paragraph, which is you can say a multi-line string. We can use square brackets for indexing because string supports indexing. We'll be talking about it, how we can use indexing. And I think we need to pace up because we have to finish it also in the time frame. So let's pace up. Okay, this is a string. Say I have initialized name is equal to Hasan Askari name. The Hasan Askari, my name has been converted in stored in the name. How will the indexing work? Okay, so if you can see, like if I've named Hassan Asri, it is a 12 character long. Space is also a character. Okay, the space here I have put is also a character and it is counted as a character, and it will has its own index as well. So how will the index work? Index will work, it starts from zero, from left to right. Okay, the way we write English, left to right, it will start with zero. And there is also a negative indexing. Negative indexing start from right to left, like we write in Urdu or Arabics. Okay, so negative, we can also use the negative. Say you can use the negative indexing. Okay, negative indexing is useful where it is useful. If there is something, it is for the purpose. So what is the purpose? If you have a character, if you have a string, you don't know, you are importing something from the web, you don't know what the string is, how long it is. So if you want the last character, you want to say I want the last three characters. Okay, you don't know what is the size of the string, so you can use negative indexing. I want -3 to -1 to -3. Okay, uh, always we go from smaller to higher. Okay, -1 is bigger, -3 is smaller. Okay, so we need to understand that. Yes, I'm not joining still. Okay, so this was all about negative indexing. Start from right to left, and positive string will start from left to right. It start with zero. Okay, start with zero. Uh, I think we don't have time. We'll do it in a. We'll do it after, in place with the string and tuple. Let me first explain what is string, tuple, and list. Then we'll do the practical all together. Okay. There are methods. What are methods? Okay. Likewise, function methods are specific to the called function. Okay, string has its own method, list will have its own method, and tuple also has its own method. We'll be talking about that. Let's talk about the string methods. Okay, what is strings? What are the methods of the string? Uh, First of all, what is the method? Methods are useful. Methods are used to make the work easier. Like if we want to do some task on something, we can either use the whole programming. We can write the program for that, or we can use the available methods. Okay, so string also has some methods, some very useful methods which are very useful. Here I have listed some four methods. There are many other methods you can view on the internet. So let me first explain how it does work and what are the functions. List, string dot capitalize, string name. If I have written name here, like if I have stored this name as Hasan Askari and I have used as capitalize, what it will do is convert the first character, the first only H will to the to uppercase and rest to the lowercase. If it was earlier as H capital and all small, the string would remain unchanged. But for now also, if I use name dot capitalize, then first character will get capitalized, the H will remain capitalized, and the rest will be in lowercase. Okay. String dot count, it returns the number of time a specific value of a string occurs in a string. Okay, so now here, this is also like a function, and functions can have arguments or parameters. Okay, so we need to enter a argument into the count. Like if I want to count A, so it will return the value 4 because A is occurring 4 times. Okay, so name dot count in bracket A with and we have to enter A in a in double quotes or single quote because A is a string. We need to find the string A, so it will return 4. Okay, A dot name dot split. Okay, what name dot split will do? Okay, uh, we have to specify again. It is argument accepting method. We need to specify an argument. If we specify some argument, say space. Okay, space. What it will do is after every space we encounter, like if in Hassan space Askari, if we say name dot split in bracket underscore space, once it will encounter the space, the characters, the set of characters, the string below, uh, behind the that space will be stored in a list, and after it will again start to search for the space or the end of the string. If there was any other space like in between Askari and there was Rizvi and there was a space in between, Askari was also stored in that list. Okay, at index one, and what I will get in the end, I'll get the string. I will get the list uh, of strings after every space. So we can use it in what is the use. Okay, we'll be talking about the uses as well in parallel. The use of this is highly when you are doing the web scraping. You know, you are crawling the web and you are getting the data. Okay, say you have got the data of less emails. What you want is first, like for after every .com, you must get a list. Okay, you must get all the characters. Okay, so what you will do is you will say you say you have got email lists string. It is the name of a string, variable name for a string where all the string emails have been stored. You will do is email list dot split in bracket. You will say dot com. After every dot com, the each of the email containing that will be stored in a separate list, and you will get that list. And then you can use that list. We'll be talking in a while, and you can use that list of emails for your other purposes, which are useful in data analytics and other web scrolling and web crawling process. Okay, so these were the methods. And swap cases does is like all the characters in uppercase are converted to lower and lower are converted to uppercase. Like if we apply here, all the character will get lowercase. Okay, let's see lists. Okay, list is also one of the data structures of Python. Okay, it is a collection of items in a particular order. The string is mutable. Okay, by mutable, a string was also mutable. List is also mutable. By mutable, I mean the list can be changed once it is being initialized. It can change the order, the values, or anything. It can change. So list is mutable and list is iterable. Iterable means it can be used for looping purposes, iterations. Okay, the elements in the list are indexed. Okay, they are indexed. Likewise, strings list is also indexed, which can be used in the loop, and we can use the string slicing. We can use the purpose of the string slicing, like in the list slicing. We can use the square brackets to access the specific positions value. Okay, for example, we have colors is equal to blue, red, and green. Okay, and I'm printing the colors. Uh, what will be the output of these two statements is I'll get square bracket blue, red, and green as an output. What we'll do now is we want to access the exact locations. Like we have got some subjects. List one is equal to physics, chemistry, 1997. It can contain anything. Okay, list the values of the list can have anything. It can have strings. Their list can have list also. It can have tuples and dictionary. Okay, it can have any sort of data structures of Python. Okay, so we have here is a string and an integer. Okay, and we want to access the zeroth location. Okay, I think you know what the zeroth location. Zeroth location is this, and minus one is this. Likewise, minus four is this. Okay, okay. So we want to access the first value of the string list. So what we'll use is the value 0. It will return physics. Okay, and when we will run the above code executed, the thing is like we have put it into the string, so it will be treated as string. It is not the argument, but this is the command, and this will return is the value at position 0, which is physics. So I'll get physics. Lit 0 is physics. Okay. There are like it is mutable, so we can update and change the values at specific locations. So likewise, we can update the list also. Like if we had the list of physics, chemistry 1997, if we want to print the value at index 2, I'll get the value as list of index 2 is 2001. 2000. Sorry, it will print 1997, 0, 1, and 2. 19. Now what we want to do? What we want to do? Okay, at the list location 2, we want to store 2001. I want to store 2001 here. Okay, so we will now print the new list. Okay, and what is the exact value at list location number 2, which in physical world is location number 3, because from 0 it is start. So if we are accessing the location of 2 in physical world, it is location number 3. So value available at index 2 was 1997, and new value will be 2001. Okay, this is how we update the lists. Okay, deleting the list, we can use del list. And okay, let me explain. This is the list we are using. We are printing it. Then we use del list 2. Okay, after deleting the value, we'll print. What will happen is at the list number 2, the value will be deleted. Position number 2. So 1997 will be omitted. Okay, and the new list will have all the values except 1997. So this was the basic updating and deleting. These are the basic operations. Like in string concatenation, we have list concatenation. We use length to get the length of the string. Okay, and we can also use repetition. We just have to multiply with the number, and it will repeat itself the number of times. Okay, we can use in function, which returns either a true or a false. Okay, if the particular value is present in that list, it will return true, else it will be false. Okay, and it is iterable, so it will be used in iteration. I'll be talking about that. We are behind the schedule because the time is almost over. Let's pace up. Okay, tuples. Okay, tuples are like just like list. The only difference is they are immutable. List can be changed, but tuples can never be changed. Okay, the value of the list can be updated, but for in case of tuples, it can neither be deleted nor be updated. Okay, so we cannot change it. Basically, Python introduced tuples, and that was the reason why it became so popular. Tuple was the reason why people used to get the programmers at that time got interested in Python. Okay, so tuple was one of the reason. So this is the fact which I have told. Okay, so syntax is very easy. We can use any variable name in declaration, tuple name, like fruits. Okay, here, and what we have to use is parentheses. Parentheses are circular brackets in normal English. Okay, and we can use values. Values can be likewise anything. It can be string, number, integer, list, and in fact tuples. Okay, tuples can have tuples in that. This is the basic examples, same as list. Okay, I'll not be explaining because we don't have time. Uh, okay, like the string and the list, tuples also have methods, but they have only two inbuilt methods. Okay, they have only two inbuilt methods: count and index. What does count do? It reads the number of times a specific value occurs. Okay, likewise in list. What does index do? Index serves the tuple for a specific value and returns the position of that value. Okay, so they both are argument-based functions. They need arguments. We need to enter argument. What we need to enter? We need to enter a value, and they will in count they will return the number of times they are occurring, and in index they will specify the first occurrence. Okay, the first occurrence of that number. Okay, so let's space up what the second. Okay, so we'll be talking about the dictionary as the last data structure of the Python. Dictionary as the other data structure, as the others are also a data structure, but it is not an ordered collection, because string, tuples, and list were ordered collection because they supported indexing. Okay, we can use the indexing to get the value, but Python dictionary is an unordered collection. Okay, it can use to where it can use to store values which map to particular thing. Okay, like a dictionary suggests. In a layman language, what is a dictionary? Dictionary is a book which contains a word and the meaning, a key and a pair value. Sorry, key and a value, key value pair. Okay, dictionary has key value pair. Keys are unique, and values can likewise anything. It can again be a list, dictionary in itself, tuples and numbers and all. But one thing to notice: key must be unique. Okay, key must be unique, and the key cannot be any other list. Cannot be any other tuple. It will only be a string or a number. Okay, so key can only be a unique value. Okay, and value can likewise be anything. Okay, this is the okay. We'll only show you one example, and you all will be getting familiarized, and we'll be doing. Okay, so dictionary. It is named dict. This is a key and a value. Okay. Name here is a key number one, and geek is the value one. Key for the key one, value one, and one is the key two, and this is the list. 1 2 3 4 is the list. It is the value two for the key two. Okay, so it always dictionary always comes with a key value pair. Okay, and if we will print, the output will be 1 2 name and 3. You can see it is an odd order because we have written name here and 1 here. It can be anything. It can by chance come as name and then 1, but it is unordered because we cannot say that if we have a vast dictionary, say dictionary of phone book. Okay, with a name there is a phone number, and we have ordered it in alphabetical. But when you will print, it is not the case that you will get in a that you will get it in an ordered way, like you have printed, you have stored. So it is unordered. Okay, so there are some dictionaries. I'll be sharing the this ppt with you all. You can view it. These are the functions. We are skipping for now because we don't have time constraint. Uh, okay, this is the last I'm admitting. After that, we have come to the end of the uh, almost the end of the webinar. So you all will be getting the feedback form once we finish the loop functions. So Ria, if I'm audible, once I reach functions, please provide the link for the feedback form. Okay, and you all are advised. You all are advised to please fill the feedback form, as you will be getting the certificate after that only. Who will be failing to fill won't be getting the certificate, and there might be problem in the future if you want to get the certificate. So please fill that form. Okay.
Excuse me, Hassan. Actually, I have provided, but one student is facing problem in accessing it.
Okay, okay, no problem. I think you all are added in that group. If you have any problem facing the that feedback form, then you can revert it on the. Okay, I've got one message. Okay, let's not disturb here. Okay, let's finish. Let's finish the webinar. Then we'll be addressing all your doubts and queries. Okay. So, what are loops? Likewise, every programming language needs looping because looping is the basics of any project. Because if say in a particular word, like if you are making something, let's say clock, so clock will have to run for number of times, and in fact, it has to run. Infinitely till the end of the world. Okay, so what we use is loops there. Okay, so every 99% of the projects need loops, so we need to get the basics of the loops. Okay, Python only has two loops, for loop and while loop. If someone who has been familiarized or who has the experience of other programming languages know that there are three loops, three basic loops, which are for, and then while, and there is one more, do while. Okay, we'll not go into that basics. We'll be only focusing on the for and the while. Okay, for loop here is totally different from what we used in Python, Java, C, and C++. Okay, what is loop? Okay, for loop is used for iterating a sequence. Okay? It can execute a set of statements one for the number of times the iterable will decide how many number of times. Okay, there will be a break. There can be a break statement within the for loop to stop the program at some instance. Okay, so having said that, let's see the syntax of the for loop. Okay, uh, I think you all can visible the at the bottom of the page there is a syntax for I in iterable. Okay, what is iterable? As I said, iterables are all those things who have proper indexing. Apart from dictionary, all data structures are iterable. Okay, like you can use strings. Okay, there is string say Hassan. If I use for I in Hassan, what it will return is every character will be stored in I, and that the whole iteration will run with a with h in first place into I, and then when the code block is being completed, then it will again come to for, and once it reaches the end of the string after I as an askari, after I, the whole of the loop will end, and we can use that the function stored in I for our purpose. Okay, we can also use lists. Okay, I think we'll be showing you in a while. Okay, like if what these are the examples. Some are still joining. Okay, for using lists. So yeah, loop using for loops using lists. Sorry, say we have a list of fruits: apple, banana, and cherry. We say for x in fruits. What it will return is one by one apple at the position. We get the values of position in every iterable. In list for position 0, we have this whole string. For position number 1 and position number 2, and we can also further use, like what we have got is string, we can use x into we can use another for loop inside for I in x, and then what will happen, one by one apple will be stored in that I. Okay, let's talk about this example only. For x in fruit, one by one, every fruit will be coming here, and we can use this x, which has the fruit at that instant, to do other computational problem. Like say if we say f x is equal to banana, please break, please stop the loop there and then, else print the x. So what will happen? This program will run. Apple will be stored in x. It will come down. X apple is not equal to banana. No, never. So it will print apple. Okay, and then it will go back. Banana will be stored. It will come here. X, which is having banana, is equal to, yes, obviously it is equal to banana. Okay, once if statement becomes true, okay, it will enter into this coding block. Okay, this is the code block. This is the code block indentation. Okay, I have not talked about indentation. Okay, we'll be talking. The coding block is the indentation for this, and for the code block of the if statement is this after this indentation. Then if the statement is true, the program will enter into this code block, and it will encounter break, and the loop will end there and then. Okay. Okay, let's talk about indentation. What are indentations? We don't use semicolons. We don't use curly braces in the if statement, for statement, or function declaration. In place of that, in place once and for all, we don't use semicolons everywhere. Okay, semicolons are not used in Python. We use colon in place of if you can recall that we used to use curly braces for coding blocks of if, for, while, or any function declaration. Okay, so in place of that, where we used curly braces for coding blocks, code blocks, we use colon for the same, and after colon there is indentation. Indentation is a 4 space bar or 1 tab space. Okay, so there is indentation, and after the indentation, specify the code block. Okay, if after for there is indentation and the statements are written, it will come into that coding block. Okay, and in place of if the indentation is there, so it will be the code block of this. Okay, so I think you all have been familiarized. What a for loop, like we can use in string also. What it will do, it will return b a n n a. Okay, one by one, and it will be printed. Okay, so this is how we can use loops. Let's talk about while loop very quickly. While loops, okay, while loops works when the condition is true. Okay, while true, okay, this statement, uh, what we write here, once it becomes true, it will enter into that and it will run, and after that again the statement will be checked, and if it is found to be false, then it will exit, or if there is a break statement, then it will fall. Okay, let's see what is happening here. We initialize I with 1, and then we say that while I is less than 1, at the moment I is 1, and here the statement say I is less than 1, 1 is less than 6. Okay, so yes, 1 is less than 6, it is true. This will enter here, print I will be printed 1, and if I is equal to 3, it will break, and once it will be increment of 1. Okay, now it will be 2, it will the statement is still true, 2 will be printed, this is false, so it will not enter into break, and it will again run 3, it is less than 6, it will enter here, it will be printed. Okay, 1, 2 and 3 will be printed, and now 3 is equal to 3, and the statement gets true, and the break will be invoked, and the while loop will be terminated. Okay, so that was all about function loops, and we have now reached the end topic of today's webinar, which is functions. Okay, function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Okay, why we use function? It minimizes the space and programming content. Okay, if we have to use some particular set of instruction again and again, we put that into loop. Sorry, we put it into functions, and we simply call that function name. Okay, so it does this tiny, neat and tidy work for the program. There will be, for every function in Python, there will be a return. Mark it, there will be a return. If you are not mentioning the return, there will still be a return, and that will be none, N-O-N-E, none. Okay, you can print it, you can see, you will be getting the return statement as none. And none is also one of the type, uh, instruction type, keyword type. Syntax is very simple. Okay, def is a keyword which is used to define the function. Then we write the function name, which again follows the variable nomenclature rule. And then there will be a colon and the indentation. And this indentation will indicate that the whole instruction writing here will be the code block of the function name, f function name. Okay. What is function name? Function name can be any valid name that you want according to the nomenclature rule. Okay, variable nomenclature rule. Okay? And functions. What is function definition? Function definition is the instruction that you want in that particular function. What you want that particular function to do. It may or may not have the written statement, but somewhat there will be returning statement for that particular value. So your function can have written or non-written value. Okay, this is the simple example definition. My function is a function name, and what we are doing is simply printing hello. And when we'll be calling my function, my hello from a function, this will be printed hello from a function. Okay, my function is a valid name because it is starting with a character, and it has only one special character, which is underscore, which is acceptable. Okay, it is returning a statement. If we store it into say a and we print a, then there will be a message NONE printed on the screen. So none will be returned somewhat. Okay, args or arguments. Arguments are basically values that we pass into functions, which can be used into the function for the purpose. Okay, which we pass information, which we pass into a function. Okay, as an argument. The functions are of four types. Okay, now functions are of four types. Function with return and no argument, function without return and no arguments, function with return and with arguments, and functions with return and no arguments. Okay, like there can be an argument and a return statement, there can be an argument but no return function, there can neither be arguments and neither are return, and there can be a argument but neither the return. Okay, there are four types of functions ultimately. Okay, so let's see the last two examples of the webinar, and after that we'll be ending the webinar. say definition my function name f name. Okay. And what it is doing is we are getting the f name which we have passed as an argument, and we'll be using it to concatenate with Indian. Okay. What this will do is once we will run my function dot Hassan, what it will print is Hassan Indian. Okay, Hassan space Indian. Something to note: there is already a space, there is no space, and there are two space. Once we will run it, there will the output for this particular line will be Hassan space Indian. For this particular line, Shreya no space Indian, and for this Samarthya space Indian. Okay, there will be two spaces. So what it will be doing is basically concatenating two strings. Okay. Let's see the last example, and we'll be also introducing you with the uh, pointers. Okay, you can see uh, function name, which is a valid function name with a pointer. So what we will be doing is basically will be stored and will be pointing to this kids now function as a what you can say any variable type. Okay. And it will be pointing to that stack and that location, and we can use again the indexing the what you can say index number to access that particular value. Okay. What we'll be doing is we have defined, and what are you be doing again is string concatenation. Okay. We call the function my function with some list. Okay. This will be stored in kits, and kits will be initialized with the list of three. Okay, list size of three with values ML, Tobias, and Linus. Okay, these are random values. Now what we are doing is printing the youngest kid is kids space number two. Now what will be printed? Not Tobias but Linus. Okay, because indexing start from 0, 1, and 2. So at number 2 it is Linus. So the youngest kid is space Linus. Okay? This will be printed, and that was the last example of the webinar. And I hope I have made myself extra clear, and you all have grasped the basics of Python, because by any language cannot be done into one webinar or into 1 hour. Then it would be very easy, and you can grasp any programming language if we can learn into 1 hour. So yes, basics needs to be clear, and I think I have made myself clear, and your basics have been cleared. And all those who have been joining with no prior experience might have found that Python is really very easy language, and programming is not such a what you can say not a rocket science. Okay, so it is very easy. Okay? Programming is very easy. Okay, these are some projects as promised. You can make projects such as Hangman project, Rock and Caesar, Dice Rolls, email slicer. In fact, email sending projects. Many students, especially the IT, information technology, and CS student, take up this project. They use email sending engine they build in Python. Okay. There can be message encode and decode. You can use your own decoding rules, and you can decode your message. Okay. There can be an 8-ball game and a clock. Okay. These are the basics projects that you can take up. Now let's see what you can take up apart from this. You can do Python in Django. Okay, I had stated earlier, this is a web development project. You can use artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. This is something serious. Okay, this is serious programming. Okay, you can use deep learning, also a serious programming. Computer vision. Computer vision, if it involves machine learning, then yes, it is very difficult and serious. But computer vision, CV, and open source, and image processing is very easy. You should just need some basics of Python, and you can start. And Python, and you can do Internet of Things project. This is something basic related to electronic student. They can use Raspberry Pi. Okay, the best developing platform. You can use it for your Internet of Things project. You can connect to the internet, and you can do some sort of computation and programming. Okay, so this was the basics, and we have come to the end of the webinar. And I hope you have found this a bit. Let me end this. Okay, I think you have found this a little helpful, and you all will be doing projects based on this. And it was great having you all. PPT. Okay, now let's see what is the issue. I think we should stop the recording. Okay, I'm stopping the recording.